Good morning, traders. Welcome to the daily webinar. Hope all of you had a wonderful weekend. I had a wonderful weekend, pretty much off of the computer for a while. Moscow is very green. The difference with Moscow and Dubai is Moscow is absolutely green. I mean, you watch out of my window, all you see is green, nothing else but green. It's absolutely green. There's a little, there's a little part just out of my window here as well. So Moscow has a lot of these small parks and residential areas. So it's nothing special, but it's a nice place. You can go. They have playgrounds for kids. They have a lot of things to do if you want in there, right? Basically, Dubai is not so green. Dubai is nice, but not that green. Moscow is amazingly green. I mean, even in the residential area, they structured it or they build in such a way that between the houses, it's really, really green. A lot of trees. So that's a good thing about it. Anyway, you can have a nice time when you're here in summer. Winter is harsh. Anyway, let's go. So let's start. This is going to be the weekly outlook as well. So if you're one of the people who watch my weekly outlook on a regular basis and you like it and you think it's helping you, please share it to someone else. It will help them. I know you may think that's not important, but it's going to help someone else if it's helping you, right? So let's go. We're looking at the dollar index. And remember what I said, this is the consolidation that will absolutely break. It does break because every time you get a consolidation like this, they do break the lows. Now, what happens when it breaks the low? Is either it's going to drop quite a lot, or it does what this break the low and start to go back up. If that happens, what you have to think is two things. Based on wave analysis, there are two things you're looking for at this moment. One is that this was some kind of a correction, and we're going to go back, make a new high. The second one is this is going to make a bigger correction here, and we're still going to drop. Both of those are possible, right? We don't know, even if it's a reversal point, the first attempt at the reversal doesn't mean anything. You could be an expanding flat in the middle, a running flat in the middle, and then go. Do I think this one is going to fall today? I don't think so, because this is a really sharp pullback. We have a small possible running flat in the middle there. See this? No, not a running flat. That's just a sharp move up. These are just very small corrections and sharp move up. But this one is looking corrective. So if that is corrective, there's a chance we're going to be stop here for a while. This could be your first impulse up. This is going to go here, come back here, and then go. In a rare case, this is going to take off, right? If that takes off, wait for the corrective part. You can't really buy above this stop here, right? We would have done that if this was a bigger impulse coming from the bottom. But because the possibility is this could still be a bigger correction. Right? We don't know that. It could still be a bigger correction. You have to leave that so that the risk to reward is not there. It's not confirming the upside as yet. Right? So all of this is part of wave analysis, understanding how any given structure will develop. If you're watching this for the first time and you're like, why the hell he thinks this is going to happen? These are the ways the chart behaves, structurally how it behaves. That's what we study here at Wave Analysis. So we are aware that even if it's going up, it doesn't mean total upside as yet. It doesn't mean a reversal. It could still be in the correction. You will treat each piece of it until you get a confirmation of the next. I'm surprised they didn't go very much down, because this could have been a nice correction here that ended. Probably didn't. We have seen more complex one than that. What I would say is wait for this. Wait for this to come back here. We wouldn't sell this as yet because there's no sell setup there. This wouldn't be all the correction. If we're still trying to drop, this is going to come back all the way to the bottom here and then go back up. But we don't know that. If we knew that for sure, we'd be selling this, right? If this had not go back into the correction and this was a big move, for example, if it had done this, let me explain that so some traders know. If this had dropped like this and then make that big pullback here and we're getting a flag here, we would sell the flag, because the range is huge enough for you to get a trade here and then watch it go back and then go down. We can't do that here because we're back into the correction. That's the difference. So selling this for this to drop, hoping that this could come all the way to the bottom here is not, it's a risky trade. This might just do this and go back up, and this would become a buy setup. If that happens, we'll buy. So what we're looking for is what this piece does. What happens here now? If it drops only to this level, we're looking for a buy setup. Now, it might be a short-term buy, which means only back to this stop. But it could also be a long-term buy going all the way to the new, for a new high, since we broke the low already. So it's going to absolutely be a buy if that happens. What if it drops here? Pull back, don't break out of this, but instead make something like this. Well, then the chances are we're going to work our way to the low, go back up there, make a big flat, and this becomes a sell. Now, whether or not we trade inside of this is a question. If you want to buy this, possible, but this is a must. So we have all week to figure out which one of these is going to happen, a big flat for downside or a small flat for upside. When it get up, is it still in the big correction or is it taking off? All of those questions we're going to answer during the week, and that will determine what trades we take. So as of now, the only possible trade I see you have is wait for it to drop, wait for it to come here and look for a buy setup. If it stays here, well, we might consider a short-term sell. We might consider a short-term sell, and then definitely take that and then drop. So we'll have to wait and see which one comes, right? Let's go. Silver. Take that out. So we didn't break this stop. And it could be a contracting flat. I mean, if you ignore the expanding flat inside, this could still be a contracting flat. And this drops, right? That's one option. The second option is it just gets more complex. This goes back up here, come here, go back up there. Make a much, much more complex pattern now. And then drop. Again, depending on how the dollar index goes. If it stays in the consolidation, this one stays in this consolidation. But what if it is going to drop and break this low? What if that's a contracting flat? What if this here is a contracting part? This impulse and this impulse creates a contracting flat with an expanding flat in the middle, right? Then what do? Can we sell this? Well, if we get a sell set up, we'll consider it. We'll make an assumption that that is possible. So what you want is for this to come back here, go back up there, give you a flat, and then try to get a sell to the bottom, hoping that that breaks the low. Worst case is we're going to work towards a break even. If this stays at the top here and consolidate, what you're looking at is a consolidation within this impulse. So it could go here, it could come back, go there, come back, go there, come here, and then go back up. Now we are making a very, very complex pattern. We're going to stay in this sideways for a very, very long time, maybe the entire week. The bigger picture is downside. Whenever that is finished, the bigger picture is this will drop. This is just like the dollar index. Eventually, it will drop. We just don't have a sell set up here right now. So today, most likely today, there are not going to be any trade that is going to give you a big move, but by the end of the day, we could get some setups. Gold. This was a good buy in both of the trades we took, both entries, depending on what time you join us in the group. Those were two good buys. It's coming back though. Right, so we're left open with the question whether we think that's the running flat now. Right, that was a question we have, whether we think that was the running flat, and this was a smaller version of it. Right, that is still possible. We bought this because it could have probably taken off and don't be the running flat, but now with this consolidation in play here, there's a good chance we would look at that as a running flat. So here's what we're going to say. What if it is a running flat? Two options. If it is a running flat, we're selling, that's for sure. Because we're going to go break the low. So sell under there is a good idea. So what could go wrong with the sell? What if it is not the running flat? What if this was? Right, there are many options of how you can put this whole piece because it went down really slow. And none of them are wrong. They're just different. So you can say, well, if that's the case, this one is only going to come here and then go back up. You have to work this straight towards a break even or a very small loss so that you can get into the buy. As of now, it's a perfect sell setup. And the reason because it's a perfect sell setup, if you look at the down move, it's sharp and we're consolidating in the lower part of it. So if you go into 15 and you look at this, we've got a sharp impulse down and we're consolidating here. So if that consolidation stays there and starts to drop, the trade is perfect for a sell. If this works its way up higher, that changes everything. We'd look for a bigger flat here and we're buying. So at this moment, with what we have on the chart right now, it's a sell setup. If this goes higher without breaking the low, that changes everything. We'll be expecting this to go there, come back here, and then they buy. So which one is going to happen? For now, it's a sell. So we can actually put this on because we have a sell set up here. And we wait to see how that consolidates. Any more consolidation in here changes that view. Let's go. Euro. We're expecting euro to drop some more, or we're expecting it to make a running flat, something like this. 1, 2, probably go for a 3 and drop. That was the idea, right? If it's going to do that. It's not doing that. We're not getting any of those. We're getting some weird consolidation here. And we still don't know if that's the top. We discussed that last week. We don't know if that's the top or that is part of a bigger consolidation. If we just connect all the lows and the highs, this is what you have, right? This is what you have. So can we assume that there is still some kind of a correction going on there? I think we can make that argument, especially if you take out this one and start from here, right? If you assume that this was a contracting flat in here, if you go with a contracting flat there and you go with the first move down here, a move up, a move down, can we get another move up? Maybe another move down and then take off, making this either a WX, YX, Z pattern. And we've seen patterns like that, or some other expanding triangle or something like that, whichever it is, an expanding triangle or 2 expanding flats. We'll see. Right now, we really don't have a trade, not for the upside, not for the downside. This is not a good sell. Right? This could be going up. This could consolidate here and drop. And we don't have any one of those confirmers yet. You want to go with this buy. You can make an assumption that this is over and this buy is coming to retest this top. It's not a perfect one because you notice these had bigger flats in them. This one had a bigger flat in it, so you can probably make an argument for that. But can this go up and retest that up? I think it's possible. So can it just be a short-term trade where it just break this top and then drop again? I think that is also possible. So if you take the buy, we have a buy set up as it stands right now in the 15. And if you're going to take the buy, it's valid only for a short time. It's an aggressive trade, right? Because if we don't break this top, if we don't break out, it could just make a flat here and drop. We could be in the consolidation. We're in the middle of this consolidation. So we could stay right where we are. I think we could put it as a buy, we'll put it as a very aggressive buy. Very short term, very aggressive, which means it might not stay for a long time. You have to manage it in the 15 and make sure you get a trade. So right now we're going to go with a very aggressive buy to come back to this top. Pound. We did break the top. We're coming back down. So the question is, we thought this could have been it. What if this was either that is the top now and we're going down? Either we go with that is the absolute top and we're going down again, or we're still making an expanding flat, which would be this. 1, 1, 2, 3, come back here and then go. So this is telling us there's a sell possibility here that could give you break even if this doesn't drop. But can it drop? We still have this low to break in the weekly and the daily. So I think we can go with the sell, take off the buy. That's a short-term buy, very good. Can we get a sell set up here? Yeah, let this go back up here. Let this one go back up and break that up and put an entry for a sell here. A very short-term sell. If it goes higher, we'll take it off. So on the 15, you want this to go back up. It is going back up. Let it come above this top. If it goes a little higher, no problem. We'll decide whether we think this is it or whether we think this is it. It doesn't matter. Both of those are possible. So keep a stop above this top, and we'll be looking for a sell setup. This one didn't break the low. So you can assume we're making a flat there and put an entry here. This is how we'll trade it. It's still an aggressive trade, right? Because it's an aggressive trade because of the possibility of an expanding flat. So we'll put it as a sell, but an aggressive sell. You would have noticed already that we have some really confusing one, right? We have a sell in gold, we have a buy in euro, we have a sell in pound, and that's okay. All of these could be moving, not dollar index movement. These short-term moves could be happening because of change in price, and each of these things separate from the dollar. And when everything is set up, then you get a dollar change of price. So right now, this change of price is pound, the euro change of price is euro 1, right? So euro short-term buy here is going up. This one is going up, but there is no buy setup. This one is actually going up for a sell. So if you take the euro buy, you have to be careful. It's an aggressive buy. It could not go very far and start to come back down. Aussie. Aussie was a perfect buy. Well done. Take this trade off. It starts to drop. We're getting another buy setup. And I think we can take this buy because remember what we looked at. What's the difference between taking this buy and the one we didn't take? Is that this was a low and this is a very big move up. This is your first big impulse down. You're making a flag in here. So there's a chance it's going to go higher into this one. Even if they're either making a big flat here for upside, big consolidation, or this one is going to drop, right? If it is going to drop, this is pretty sharp. So I don't see any reason why it should drop. I expect them to go up more like this. We already excluded this one. It could still be, we excluded, but it's still possible. You could still make this argument. So for now, we're gonna assume that it's going back up. Come back to the 1 hour. This is the first impulse down. Go to the 15 minutes. We're inside of that impulse, and we're going up. So we've got a buy setup. You can make an argument that this was all the flag. You can make an argument that that is the flag. Doesn't matter, put an entry above the top. If it doesn't go, you know the rules. If it doesn't go really fast, you get rid of it. We're trading within this range. That range is how much? That's 102 pips, right? If we don't know how high the correction is going to go, how fast it's going to go, how slow it's going to go, but it's not going to break through the top unless it's a running flat. So this move, although you're trading it up, could start to do this, right? It might get here, but you can start to do that, come back here and then take off. You can take the trade, manage it for a while, get it to break even, and then see what happens. So put it as a buy. It's an aggressive buy because you're inside of the correction. All of them because you're inside of the correction. So we'll put them as aggressive buy. You'll monitor them very carefully at the 15. New Zealand. Same here. We've got a big move up, a really big move up. Take off this. That was your buy. It dropped. It starts to consolidate. Here's the thing. This one, I'm not sure whether we want to buy this one. I'm not sure whether we want to buy that. You can take the chance in it. But I don't know what this is. If that is real, then you shouldn't buy this. If that is not real and this is the first move down, then you can take a chance with this, depending on how it goes. Did it go? If it goes back to the top, it's a flat for upside. That's what I'm expecting, a flat for upside. Because I think we're trying to go up higher, right? Again, we have the same option of this being this flat and drop one more. We have that option still open. So if it is going to go, then I say we don't take the trade. There are two risky trades we're looking at. One is the Aussie and this one, and they have the similar structure. So you buy one of them only. We're going to leave this. We're going to wait for this to give us a sell setup if it's going to drop. And then we'll go for the sell setup rather than the buy, which means we'll have to take break even and Aussie. But if this is going up higher, then we'll get the Aussie trade. Don't take both of them. Take one. You can, if you want to take this and skip the Aussie, it's okay. I think the Aussie is a better option. Take this out. You would have taken break even on that trade by now if you see that. We're waiting at the bottom and we're pulling back. So I think it's a sell. I think we might be starting that downside. We're consolidating up against this here. But that is very sharp. Remember, this was the slow one down. That's a correction. This drop. Now you don't expect this to go back to the top. You expect it to make some correction, but then we're expecting it to drop. So let's see what the pattern looks like inside. Looks incomplete at the moment, right? Because we actually broke out of this, but we're not going as yet. So there's a good chance this goes back up here. Drop again, give you this flat. Go back up there and then drop, right? See, this one did very similar things when we had the sharp move there, and when they started to do that, we knew it was going to drop, go back up, and then drop. So we might be making something like that here. If that repeats itself, that'd be perfect because it's easier for you to trade. Now, I wouldn't trade this. I wouldn't try to trade this up or down. What we can do, just in case, and this is here, and you always want that just in case from the top, is put a sell here. Remember, originally we had a sell here. And then we said, let this finish and go back up, and we put the sell here. And if you were lucky, you took this one, or this one, or this one, right? Any of those three were good sells. You would have closed it somewhere here and re-enter either in this one or on this one. So we're doing the same thing here. Let's see how this goes up. And we're selling. So this is a sell setup. You can put that sell on, but you're not expecting it to drop from there straight to you. If it does, great for you. No big deal. Remember, this could drop quite a lot from where we are. You never want to miss the sell. So we're going for the sell. Let's see. Swiss. This was the sell of this flag. It dropped. You would have probably closed and re-enter here. You would have closed again for break even here, and then we'll see what happens. Let's see what's the bigger picture. Still downside, right? If this is correct, if this is doing what we think it's doing, and there's a chance that this still is going to drop some more before you go back up, and it could drop quite a lot more if this is a flat for downside. It's not a perfect pattern. It's not the ideal way we like to see it, but it's good enough. We really don't have a trade as yet. There's no buy setup here, and definitely no sell setup. So we'll just ignore this for now. Let it form, and then we'll come back to it. USD CAD. Yep, it dropped and it's pulling back. This was a perfect running flat. I think we got that correctly. This dropped, break the low, you're going back up. It seems to be consolidating for upside. If this consolidation stays there, we look for the buy. If it makes a small consolidation at the top here, we look for a buy setup. Where would that take us? Maybe just correct upside and then fall. We can expect this to drop. In the big picture, we can expect it to come back down, right? You're always looking at this as a possible 1, 2, 3, and this could drop. It could break the low again and then go back up. Remember, all the daily has three-wave structures. And do we have divergence between those two, by the way? Oh yeah, we do. We have divergence here, as well as we have divergence between this impulse and this impulse. You can see that, right? If you put it in, and that's a daily. So that's a good sign that you could drop from there. On the 4 hour, oh yeah, we have divergence here. And you have divergence internally here. So that's a good one. We'll be looking for a sell setup here, I think. Can we look at this as a possible running flat for one more up? I think we can also do that. That is because of this flat in here, right? Because of this flat in here, you can make an argument for a running flat for one more up. The buy is a good idea. Even just to retest the top, or to make a bigger correction and then drop. So we go with the buy, and let's see, we're gonna go with the running flat here now. One more up, and then we'll see what happens, right? Downside is possible, but this could still go up. The only way we change that is if this actually works its way down to the bottom here. Go back up there and then make another flat. Can we possibly look at this as the bigger running flat? Or we still don't have a sell setup there. Right? Because you can see it's consolidating at the top. You're not going to take a sell at that point, even if this is it, right? Let's assume for a second that this is the running flat. Let's go with that option. And we are going to drop, right? That this is nothing. This has nothing to do with that. And that's the running flat. This is somehow the way that impulse ends. Let's go with that one. And this is going to drop. Well, you've got to wait for it to drop. You've got to wait for this to drop here, make a flag here, and then go. You know the rule. Let it drop some more, make a flag, and then we sell. I'm taking all of this. I'm just giving you all the options. Right now, we have a buy setup. If that breaks out from there, it's a good buy setup, and we'll take it. Right? If that breaks out, we'll stay with this running flat. See, the options are a lot. You can go with any one of them, and they're all perfect. Those flats can be, if you put you're just changing the combination of the pieces. And if it makes a pattern, it makes a pattern. That pattern is valid. What confirms which one of those patterns is the right one is what happens after that, right? If you have 3 possible patterns, you need a confirmation that only one of them, it will only confirm one of those patterns, which means only one of them can be correct. The confirmation is what is going to tell you which one is correct. So right now, if this stays here and consolidate up, this is correct. If it starts to drop, we don't have a sell setup until it does something like this, make a flag here, and then we sell this, and confirms this one is correct. That's simple. You don't have to determine what it's going to be. You wait for it to confirm if you see all the possibility. Let's go. I think we can put this as a buy. As far as I'm concerned, right now it's a buy setup. Sorry, that should be a buy. Yeah. Euro-cad. That was a CAD dollar, right? So let's take this off. We were expecting this to drop. It actually went back to the top, and we're doing this. Let me take this off. All right, let's put it like this. This is what we have. See, we have a move up. Take this out. We have a move up, and we have a consolidation in there. And we're at the top of the consolidation. See, we came down, went up, came down, went back. The problem is the sharpness of this one going up. This has more correction, that has more correction. So the sharpness of this going up is the problem. And this one is sharp too. What if this is the flat? Let's go with this option. What if this here is the flat? 1, 2, 3, and we come back here and then go up. Let's look for a sell setup here. The buy setup would be if you consolidate here quite a lot. If this consolidate here quite a lot, we're going to go with the buy. Put an entry order here. If you want to buy by rule, if you want to buy from there, you have to put an entry order here. That's by rule. This is too big for that. We normally do that in smaller flats. The last impulse down, right? But not when you have 100 pips down. When you have like 10, 15, 20 pips down, you can do that. Just showing you the rule. What you wait for is this to consolidate here for a buy. What if it actually is going to drop? Well, then you'll have to allow it to drop. Wait for a flag. I hope it doesn't drop that much. It drops like here, make a flag here, and then you sell. Make a flag, and then we sell just to break this low, because after that, you're going back up. That's assuming that there is a flat here for a running flat in the middle, and then you get 1, 2, 3, and then you go back up like this, complete a bigger flat, and then you drop. See? So right now, we have to wait. Both sides possible. I'll put it as blue. Both sides possible. Keep an eye on it. Both sides are good trade. CAD. Oh, we traded CAD news last week. That's why we have all of this here, right? So take this off. Okay, we knew this was going to break out, this channel. It broke out, so it depends on how you look at it. We did break the low, so it could be the start of the upside for this move. We're still waiting for this, right? It could be we're making this flag here now. See? We're making that flag here now before we get a spike and then drop. So if it gives us a spike, we definitely want it, right? Do we have any CAD news today? The only thing will give you that spike will be probably CAD news or a pound news, right? So if we get that spike, we'll definitely take it. We don't have a sell, we don't have a buy setup as yet. This is a sharp one. You're making consolidation in the halfway. It has to go back up higher, pull back here, and then we can go for a buy. Right? Or it has to break this low, turn, and then we decide we gotta buy. So right now it might be a sell setup, but we're not gonna sell it. Right? This could be a short-term sell. We don't have to sell this. Look, wait for the Euro-cad sell or the Dollar-cad sell. Right? We think we're looking for a Dollar-cad sell as well, right? Dollar-cad to buy. If this drop lower and make a flag, you get a Dollar-cad sell. So Euro-cad, both sides, pound-cad upside. Wait to see if this goes up, make a good flat here, and then we go for the buy. I don't think we're going for the sellers here. So I'll put it as a buy possibility. We're waiting for a buy setup on this. Sorry, not this one, the buy setup, the flag. We're waiting for a consolidation there to go with. Aussie CAD. This was the buy, that was the buy. Both of them closed already. Take up, come on. Take this off, take this off. Those were traded last week. It's going up as a channel, right? You can literally see that. We're making a channel up. When you make a channel up, especially if an expanding one, it's not going to be very long-lived. It's going to break with divergence in play. It's going to break. So we absolutely have a buy setup here. And the problem is this. One impulse, pull back, one impulse, pull back, one impulse, pull back, one impulse. I don't think it's going to take off. I think it could reverse. See? So would you have enough for an exit there? Especially with a deep pullback like this, the deep pullback, if you take it above the top, you might not get a lot for exit. Because if you take a trade above this top here, you have to put a stop here, and all you're expected to do is do this and then drop. So I would leave the channel. What we normally do is leave this channel as it is, and you want it to come just about the top of the channel and consolidate here. Then you buy, because it's either going to drop or it's going to consolidate. See, they started to consolidate here, but then it drops. If it drops, you're not in the trade. Your entry should have been here. The same thing, you put an entry here. It either drops or it goes out of the channel, which means this is no longer doing this. This would be an expanding leading diagonal, a pullback, and a takeoff. Or this is a channel that's ending, an expanding ending diagonal to drop to the bottom. So I wouldn't buy to the top there. That's not a good idea. Leave this alone. Euro Swiss, that was a perfect sell, and this looks like a very good sell. Where is this taking us? Let's see. Well, we're going to break this low, which is we are almost breaking it, and then we'll see if we come and break this low. That's the daily or the weekly low or something like that. So we could probably go and break that. This is a good sell setup. We probably could get it at a better place. Yeah, you could wait for it to come and break this top. Let this go up, break that up, and look for a sell setup from there. When we break the top, if we get a sell setup, it's okay. If you get a sell setup, it's not a good idea. Keep it under the low. So only if the top is broken, the sell is perfect. Without breaking that top, you're not selling inside of the correction. If it's a contracting flat, then it proves a contracting flat. Euro yen. Both of those sells were good, but I think the second one was break even. The first one, I don't know if you close it or you got break even, but they're not going anywhere so far. We still have more downside. I think we're going to drop here. We'll probably make a bigger flat here. I could already see the possibility for a bigger flat because you've got this sharp move here down. With that sharp move up, depending on how you look at it, could this be a reversal? It's too early for a reversal. Go to the 4 hour. See, we don't have a reversal yet. We're going to come to this low and then go. I think we'll get a bigger correction here. We'll probably see this consolidate more. And then we're going to get a drop, something like this. See that one there? And then we're going to get a final drop before we go up. So wait for that consolidation. Wait for the drop. I don't think we should trade inside of that consolidation. It's too early. And it's not the best consolidation to trade in. So wait for it to consolidate and then we'll look for a sell setup. Once you get a pattern here, we'll look for a sell setup. Cad-yen. We're trading the news on that one to the downside. So the sell was away. You know why? It's pretty much down. So can we make an argument that we've made the top there now? This top is here. And we're looking for this downside. It will be a running flat because we broke this top. We broke that up. We weren't when we put these 2 hour, we didn't put it to break the top. We never make a forecast for running flat. We had it originally like this, coming to this level and then dropping. Well, they crawled up a little more. They made that. And now you're getting this. So it's still the same size. We're assuming it's going to be the same size. And you put it here now. We have more to the downside. Wait for a consolidation here. You're going to get some kind of a consolidation. And then we look for the sell to come here. Right? Can we buy this to the upside on a shorter term? No, you shouldn't. You should look for the sell. Actually, you're getting a flag here, but that's too small. This one is big, this one is small. You want a bigger one. But anywhere you get a flag, what you can do is put an entry under the low. Just leave it there. It's not going to tag you. The only way you get tagged in that is if it starts dropping crazily, right? Really fast, then good for you. If not, the likelihood is it's going to consolidate its way up here. And we'll probably sell from here going down. Once we see enough of this and we see that there's an impulse somewhere after a consolidation, you get an impulse, we'll put it under the last impulse. Right now, you don't have anything to put under last impulse, so put it under the low. Euros. That was the sell on the break of that one. What do you have here now? If we assume this was it, we can make that assumption, right? WX, YX, that's why we sold this. Could this be the reversal to the upside? it shouldn't reverse. It should go down. See, we're not expecting reversal. We're expecting this thing to go down. Unless you look at the bigger picture and you assume that this is a running flat and we're going to make one more up like that and then drop. Possible? Not necessary, because this could be a lower time frame correction, right? Of so on. Because there's a good correction in the middle there. This is going back up, and we don't know what it's doing as yet. So I would say assume that this is just a deeper correction. Assume that that is a deeper correction in the impulse now. Let's see if it consolidates here, go back up, and then we get this. We'll definitely sell that. If you sell here, you have to be quick. You have to get a good, we don't have anything to sell. You need a flag. You need this to start making a flag somewhere. You need to decide whether to the low you have enough risk to reward. Putting a stop at the top. Taking this trade. Hope it becomes a running flat. Go back up. You'll be out of the trade. Or if it's a flat, it's starting to go back up. You can get out of this for positive. Either get the buy or don't get a buy. But then definitely look for the sell from the top. Because if you get a flat, we'll take the sell from the top. So as of now, that's the plan. Leave it alone. Let's wait. You're in New Zealand. This was a good sell to take that off. And we assume that this was the bigger WXY, except either two flats or a triangle. It doesn't make a difference. Two flat will give you a triangle. It's dropping and it's reversing pretty much like the Euro Aus. I don't think we're reversing though. Again, depending on whether you're going to consolidate here for upside or whether you're going to consolidate here for downside. Let's go with the downside option. There's probably a little more downside. Your pound. Yep. Close and re-enter. Still valid. And pretty much better now. Close and re-enter here. Let this go back up and then use this one. So assume there is a running flat in here for me. That's the first running flat. Go back up, come back down, go back up, and then drop. So it's going to drop. It's going to take a while. Let's put it under the low for now, because there's a series of sharp impulses here that needs to complete themselves. You don't want them to accidentally tag you. It's a sell. You're going to move your entry orders up as each flat is completing itself, right? Or when the whole thing completes itself. That is a sell, and we think we know where that is going, right? I think this one actually went there. Go back. This was your next sell. You got that. You probably got a break even here. We're looking for this to come here. And from that point, it could either drop through the bottom or go back up. That's what we're looking at right now. The only way that changes anything is if this actually work its way back to the top here, pull back here, and then do this, because then the sell comes from here. It will still be a sell, right? If you get a big flat like this, and then you get that up, it's still a sell. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and it's still a sell. So either way, you're looking for a sell. Either it makes a big flat, go one more up, and then we get the sell, or you get a sell now, and it drops from here. Pang Yen. Yeah, we're still looking for the sell. It's still a sell setup. Maybe incomplete, but put an entry under the low. I think it's incomplete. Those waves looks pretty sharp. We might be in the B part right now. Yeah, this one is pretty sharp. Be careful, don't let them tag you. It looks like a running flat or expanding flat. Don't let them tag you and then drag you back up. Right? If it doesn't go through, take it off. If it just comes here and start to, thing, it's gonna probably go back up, still be a running flat, and then drop. You can still survive it. You know what to do. Increase your risk, put a stop here. Double the risk, put a stop there. You're not gonna live with that one, right? Where would this take us? I think all the yen pairs have a similar one, and they're all coming down. So we're assuming that this is gonna get back to this level at least. We'll either go, I don't think we'll go with a contracting flat. I think we'll go with a more complex pattern. This would be a 1, 2, 3, go back up there sharp, come back down here, and then go. I would go with that option. Now, the worst case is a contracting flat. They come here and then they take off. We'll still buy this, right? Once we get this to the bottom, we'll buy it. So We're working towards breaking this low, not necessarily this low. But if it breaks this low and starts to go back up, we'll buy you. It doesn't matter which one it breaks. So it's a good sell setup. You can put the sell on and wait. It will probably give you a few more, right? A few more corrections inside. Oh, now we can go up. Right? Last week we were selling it to come down. We needed to break this low. We broke that low. We don't need to break this low because I still think this would be this, go back up there, and then come down back, right? So we're still in this sideways move. I think the most corrective part of this whole thing would be this. We'll probably go back up sharp, come down back, go back up, and then drop, right? On the daily, that would be some kind of a daily correction. That'd be some weird daily correction happening here. Right? Go there and then drop. We were expecting this to go back up like that only, and it went back more like this. So let's see what happens in this one. Hope this doesn't come here, go back all the way to the top here, and then drop. Right? What's the bigger picture in this? Yeah, downside is possible because we're coming back to retest this low. After this drop, we're expecting it to come here. Most likely because the consolidation that should drop, it could come here and then go back up. Let's go back to the 1 hour. Look for the setup. Do we have a buy setup? Not as yet. Can it drop one more and then go? It possibly can. There's always a chance it could drop one more then go. But we don't have a sell setup unless you get a flag. So what you'll do is wait for a correction here and then the upside. So I would put it as expecting the upside, right? If it drops lower, you don't have a sell setup. You'll just have to let it drop and then wait for the buy. So what we're going to do is we're going to wait for a flag to form and then look for a buy. On New Zealand, I think pretty much the same pattern. We wanted it to come and break this low. That's the correction. Go back up, maybe like this. And then drop. See? So we've got some parts of it. Can we get the buy today? It's possible. If it's going to drop, you don't have a sell, but if it consolidates here, you have a buy. Now, I don't know how it's going to go. It could go fast, it could go slow, you could get some sharp moves like that, which means you can get some amazing trades. That's if we have any. You could put a buy. It's been consolidating for a while. But it's possible it could make a better flag like this, something like that, see, or something like this. So let's see. We can go with the buy, but it is a buy. So let's see if it goes. Pound Swiss. So you're at the bottom of this thing. I think it should go back up, but this right now looks like it could drop one more. This looks like this could drop one more. And then we're looking for this up before we drop. So in this, all the pound trades look like they have one more move up before they actually drop. Maybe more than one. But they do have this, all of these look like corrections to have, to go. We could easily look at this as an expanding flat there. This was pretty sharp. See, remember that one was pretty sharp. So you can go with 1, 2, 3 up. This has a sell setup. I think we could skip the sell. We should skip the sell because we don't know how far it's going to go. If you're going to take the sell, make sure you can get out really fast because we broke the low already. I don't think we have a contracting flat here. The next option is that you look at this as a possible contracting flat. And this is going to drop. So if you're taking it because you think it's a contracting flat, make sure you can get out for break even in case it doesn't go very far. Right? In that case, you'll have to make that decision really quick when the low is broken. I would skip the sell. I don't think it's a contracting flat, so I'll skip this sell and wait and see what happens. New Zealand yen. All the yen trades have this, so we'll assume that that is finished there. We can make that assumption that, well, maybe it's finished there. And now you're going down, so you're getting consolidation here for a sell. Yeah, these were small moves, small moves, small moves, and then it dropped out of that structure. So you're out of the structure, consolidating under the structure. That's a good sell setup. We don't have any consolidation areas yet. We're just starting. I don't know if that's a running flat. You'll have to check it in the 15 and then you go for the drop. Put an entry for the seller. We'd assume that's a running flat there. Yeah, you can make that assumption. You can go with that assumption that it is a running flat. If not, they'll consolidate, go back up. You get this, and then we'll sell it. It's still a sell setup. So go back to the 1 hour, wait for the trade setup, wait for a better entry if you can get one. If not, take the trade. We're coming back to retest this low. All right, so we're expecting it to come back to this low here. There's a chance we go back up from there. There's a good chance we could drop lower, depending on how you look at this whole structure. I still think it's going to go back up from here. So let's see. Let's go one piece at a time. Right? We're in the middle of those two sharp moves. See? If this becomes a flat in the middle here, we have to go back up, come back down, go back up. Right? So let's see if this drops all the way to the bottom here, we'll go with some contracting flat in here. We'll make 1, 2, 3. This one will have to be some kind of a contracting flat, come back to the low, go back. I don't think it is. I think we'll stay in that flat for a while. So I'll pull this all the way to the bottom here and wait for that flat to come back here and then go back up. Swiss yen, this one is coming down. This is a simple one. It doesn't have all that complexity, but you have a sell setup. That's already clear. You're coming back to the low. So go for the sell. We're coming back to this low. Let's put a line where the low is, so we'll know where we're heading back to that low. That's it. If it gets more complex, like they consolidate here a lot more, and you get tagged, take it off. You know what to do, right? Swiss yen, that's Swiss yen. So it's a sell. Aussie yen. Same pattern, same style, everything, right? So we expect this to drop. I am not sure how we would look at this pattern. There are too many pieces to it and too many patterns in play. You can go with this is the flat. So you make 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, expanding flat. This comes back to the low here and then go up. Complete this one. All right, that's one option. The second option is you just go with 1, all of this here. It still end the back with a 1, 2, 3. If you go with anything here that finishes this move like 1, 2, 3, then this has to go up a lot more to the top and break that up. Right now, I don't see them going up. It seems like we're consolidating here for downside. We broke out of this one and we're consolidating here for downside. Let's see what happens. Yep, this definitely looks like a consolidation for a drop. See? That definitely put a sell, put an entry order for a sell. There, all the yen pairs are sell. You can choose the ones you like. You can decide which one you think is the best one. So I will put a sell. We'll come back and we'll keep a tight focus on all the yen pairs. Aussie and New Zealand. Yeah, probably go up one more. Depending on how you look at it, it might or might not make one more up here as a running flat. Just go break the top and then drop. If that happens, you can wait for it to break the top and then look for the sell. I don't think we're taking off at this point. All right, I'll just let it go break that up and then look for the sell setup. Aussie Swiss. Okay, this is going back up. Can we assume that this was the running flat? I don't know, this here, for example. You can make an argument for that. You can make an argument you're still in the consolidation. And this here is going to go back up there and then come down like that. I don't know. I don't see a trade setup on it. Definitely not a buy and not a sell. The only way you get a buy is if you get a flag here now. So stay away from this for now. On the 1 hour, you definitely have to have a flag before you can buy. I know you guys are in the trade from an earlier place, but this here, you have to get this flag here now before you can buy again. Can it drop? I think it can. There was a small flag here this morning. I think you guys got that on a lower time frame. So now you can just move your stop. I wouldn't close it. I'll just move the stop and see if it breaks the stop. We don't know whether it will, depending on how you look at this, right? It's complex. It's probably going to stay complex. Might get even worse. New Zealand CAD. Yeah, we're in this correction. And it looks like they're going to drop one more. Because we dropped here, this one dropped. You can make an assumption that that is a flat there. Right, this is a smaller flat in the middle, and this one is going to drop. So in that case, you do it two ways. You either put an entry under the last impulse or wait for a flag. Can this break out? Can this be the one that break out? Normally, if they're going to break out, they'll go very sharp. They wouldn't consolidate that much here. So if we consolidate this much, we assume you're going to make one more low here and then break out. Big picture, what that does look like? Okay, 1 second. What the hell happened here just now? Big picture, that looks like this. Come on, 4 hour. Okay, something's messing with the charts. Give me a second. Let me just reload that one. See what's happening. Yes, let's go back. Aussie Swiss. And New Zealand CAD, sorry. Yeah, so in the big picture, this is downside, but we will probably break this top first. So even if this drop here, it's going to go back, break the top, and then come down. Right? This would eventually come down. It's good taking the sell. I think the sell is worth. What if this is a slow move down and they actually drop? Good for you. I don't think it will do that, but that would be good for you. So all this consolidation will eventually drop. See that? We're in this thing, and this is consolidating here. So once you go back up there, this will eventually drop. There's a sell setup, drop a little, go back up, then drop. Go back to the 1 hour. This sell is short term, very, very short term. It is only coming to break this low, which means it's going to drop like this and then go back up. But you can take this trade. And that's all you might get today. And then tomorrow you get the upside. So I'll put it as an aggressive sell. New Zealand Swiss. Put this here. What's the big picture in this? Let's take this off. We have this flat here. And the question is this a flat for upside? Or are we actually starting the downside? Let's go back to this point here and see. Here's what you do. Wait, see if we get a flag here. We'll take that trade up. If they drop and consolidate in this range, we'll continue to sell. So right now, it's either way, wait for a flag or wait to see what happens there. In the 15, you don't have a flag. You had a flag here this morning. If you're trying to buy this, you got to get that in the positive already because it can come back down, right? If this comes down, consolidate in here, and then go back up, we'll definitely be selling that. Right now, we don't have it. Both ways possible. Wait for the blue. Cad Swiss. Okay, we're at the bottom of this structure, but it's not actually an impulse to the downside. I think you can see that clearly, right? We were expecting this to drop. When we sold this the first time, we were expecting this to drop to the bottom. It didn't happen. As a matter of fact, this still looks like you're making a flat here. Right, that still looks like it can go back up from here, probably get even more complex than that. I don't think we're dropping. If we're going to drop, I want to see a really good consolidation here. That convinced me that this is going to drop. To the upside, if you get a flag anywhere, you can buy. You want an impulse in a flag. We don't have an impulse in a flag. See? We kind of get a move up or pull back and move up. That's not an impulse in a flag. So we don't have a sell setup. We don't have a buy setup. We'll have to wait for that. Let's go. Okay. I hope you didn't get tagged on this Friday afternoon, but if you did, you close it somewhere here, right? Because it tagged you once, the second hour open back, go back up. That was a 50-minute trade. It doesn't go, take the loss. It's going to be a small loss, but take it. Probably stay away from this for a while. If they make a good flag at the top, you can wait for a deep pullback and then get into the trade for a buy. You have to wait for a deep pullback and then go for the buy. Yes, oil. The sell is a good idea. I don't care where you take it, how you manage it. It's a good idea. You should be in and out of the trade. There's a possible another sell setup on the one over here. But you have to be careful with this now. It's almost at the low. So if they're just going to break the low and go back up, you have to get out really fast. This becomes a higher risk trade than the one we originally took. You're not tagged on this ones yet. So you can still make an argument, keep it under the low, right? Because if this is B flat and this one is going to drop, the trade is worth taking. You can get out for break even. And if we're just making a flat here for upside, you can get out for break even. So it's still a good sell. So I put both of them as sells. I don't think we have, yeah, both of them as sell. Aggressive sell. Because both of them are at aggressive point that if they break this low, they can go back up. You'll manage the trades as you go. S&P 500. If you got tagged in this, you close. See? So if you got tagged on that, you close the trade. We're getting a sell setup here. It's not ready, but it's a sell setup. You want this to come down some more. Go back up there, make a flat, and then you go for the sell. Let's wait and see if we get that sell. Could it be a bigger flat here for upside? We can buy it here. We have to exclude that flat for the sell before we buy. It has to go up, make another flag, and then we buy. Right now, we'll stay with this possible sell setup. This bigger flat is what I'm looking at. This 1, 2, 3. This could be a very nice sell. I think we go with the sell. And it will be a sell on NASDAQ. Yep. There'll be a sell here. And Dow Jones, well, we finally broke this stop. So if they want to drop, wait for this to give you a sell setup. We don't have a sell setup here. All right, we don't have a sell setup. Can we buy this for an expanding flat, a running flat, sorry? Well, it depends if you think it's going to go back to the top. They're making very nice flats at the bottom. So I don't think, because of this flat here, I don't think we're coming back all the way to the top. So I'll probably skip that. If you really want to take the trade, put an entry up the top here. If the other two are consolidating for a buy, this one can take off. So let's assume we're making a flat here. This is going to consolidate back to the top. This one is going to consolidate back to the top. So they're kind of going to go this and do this and do this, and then maybe come here and go up, right? So we don't have buy setups there. But in this one, you actually have a complete flat if you want to take it that way. If you want to take this as a running flat, then this doesn't need to consolidate. This could take off. So in that case, while those are consolidating up, this could be an impulse. Put it as a buy. It wouldn't affect you if it doesn't be. If it's not an impulse to the upside, it wouldn't affect you. If you notice it's consolidating here, take it off. So if you notice that this starts to consolidate here, take off the trade. Wait for the sell setup. Okay, it's still a buy. You're going to come and break this low, but it's still a buy. It's probably going to come here, break the low there. It still looks like a buy. I don't see the sell setup in it this yet. Let it drop some more, then we'll decide that. Okay, if you got tagged in this, you may want to close because it started. That's a sharp drop. Wait for it to go back up, put an entry, close, re-enter back above the top. If they consolidate here, that would be a perfect buy setup. If it's dropping, you'll wait for a consolidation in here and then sell back to this level. Bitcoin. Yeah, we'll retest the low. So already trying to confirm the downside. So yeah, here's a problem. This is coming down, this is coming down. But if you put all of that together here, not very encouraging for the downside, right? What if that is some kind of a flat that will take off to the upside like this, right? Let's assume this was a flat. And this thing is going up, but it's going up really slow. We've seen that before, right? And this just takes off like a rocket. Since we're not interested in the sell, which means if this just keeps falling like this, we're not interested in the sell. And but what if it actually going to take off from here? We're interested in the buy. Put a buy entry here. Now, if you're already in the buy and you from here and you have an order to sell, or from here and you have an order to sell, or from here and you have an order, if you're taking out on any one of you, taking out in this order, put an entry to buy there. So if they keep dropping, you don't have to worry about it. But if it takes off, you're back in the trade, right? If you're not tagged in the other two orders to sell as yet, just leave the orders there. Let it come to you. Don't try to take profit. If you want to take profit, you have to put an entry above the top. So let's say you're in from here and you're thinking, well, I could actually book this profit and put an entry here, which means if it goes from here, the difference that I'll get is this, but I've already booked this profit. Why not? I would say wait, and if this consolidates here some more, if you make another consolidation there before you drop, then it would make sense to probably take that profit and put an entry here. Somewhere here you close, any consolidation, put an entry above the top and take that profit. Only then it makes sense. Right now it doesn't make sense. So let's wait and see what it does. Because if this takes off, you want the trade. Ethereum, if you tag, you exit the trade. It's not going. You're actually doing this. And the question is, what the hell is that now? Right? How do we look at that? Is this the top for downside? What if you look at it like this? This is a flat. Originally, you thought this was all the flat, right? And it could still be that is the flat. This is a pullback, a smaller pullback, a new high. Are we trying to go down or are we trying to go up? When you start to get structure like that, it's hard to tell, right? Hard to tell whether this is another flat for upside, or it's going to make a consolidation here and fall. That is the top. Now, I think we need to break this top. Let me see if we need to break it. What is that? No, that's not a top. Sorry. That is the weekly bottom. I'll take it off. We broke it already. So when you see this, you're thinking, well, what if that is a running flat as well for upside? If that's the case, put an entry above the top. Again, if it tags you and it doesn't go, you'll take it off. You want it to tag you and go. So put an entry above the top, and if it's upside, great. But if we are dropping from this point, it will have to make a flag here. And then we'll sell if you want to sell. Or you just, whatever your trades in, depending on where you get in, make sure you move your stops and say, okay, I'll close to positive. I think this one you can ignore. This is likely going to go down. I think this one is really flat, so there's a good chance that's the flat, and this is going to drop one more low here. And then go back up, right? And what if you're wrong about that? What if it's not going to drop, it's just going to take off? Well, then put an entry above the top. I don't think this is going to tag, but put it there. So if for any reason this takes off like a rocket and this becomes the low, and this is a deep flat that came back all the way to the bottom but didn't break the low and decided to take off, well, good for you. If it's going to break the low, I think it is almost telling us that there's been drop here, and then we look for reversal, wait for a flag buy. We repeat the process. Let's go. XRP. We haven't broken that top as yet, so can it come down as a contracting flat? I think it can do that. You can make that argument. Whatever that is, it's going to be a contracting flat. This could still go up there and then come down back or take off. Either is possible. So here's what I'll do. I'll put an entry or just above this top here over the last impulse and see if it goes or if it comes down. So if you're going to put an entry order for a buy, you have to put it just above this last impulse here. I'll take this one. Put it just above that last impulse. LTC. We did break the top. And again, is it going to make a new low and then go for a flat like that? Perfect flat. But what if this is making a correction and it takes off? And this becomes the low correction, and this just keeps going like that. In that case, put an entry above the top, and if you break this low, put it above the last impulse, right? So right now, this is the impulse. This is the correction. We haven't broken this low. If this breaks the low, put it above here, but for now, you keep it above the top. Pretty much simple, right? Let's go. Dodge. I think we broke the top. If we didn't, then it doesn't really matter. You could still get a contracting flat and drop one more. I don't see the buy in this. I totally see this dropping, making a new low and then going back up. I really don't see how we go with this. It could even become a much more complex pattern, the whole bigger thing, right? Can we look at this whole thing as a much more complex pattern eventually? Yeah, we can. We can put it like this for now, but I think it's a much more complex pattern. Let's wait and see. With this way of having a three-wave structure in it. No buy setup here. Idiot. This thing should drop and break the low. I think we just leave it alone. I think this one too, it should drop and break the low because this is very, very corrective. So they should eventually break the low, then go back up. And this too. This one, not necessarily. Right? This one could go back to the top first. Break that up, and then maybe drop. If you think you can get out of break even, the buy might be worth it. I think that's about it. We just completed all the thing. So I'm going to stop the live session. All of you guys trade with care.